to see. After a phenomenal match at WrestleMania, Punk was in the ring less than 24 hours after WrestleMania, defending the title against Mark Henry, and now Mark Henry and Abraham Washington, the former voice of ECW's commentary team, is going to potentially manage Mark Henry. That's kind of weird. We got a couple of good storylines from the aftermath of WrestleMania, but a lot of storylines in that same light don't make sense. Abraham Washington comes out of nowhere and now offers his managerial services and his card to Mark Henry. Hopefully they'll give Mark Henry something to do. Obviously, Mark Henry now can be considered a top contender for the WWE Championship because of a count-out victory over CM Punk. Obviously, that was a way of giving CM Punk some respiratory time and relaxation after giving us a phenomenal wrestling match with Chris Jericho. Less than 24 hours after that match with Jericho, he's inside of the ring. By next week, probably Punk will be in better condition and be performing at the level he was prior to going in to WrestleMania. The Divas Tag Team match. This was just put together to give Maria Menounos a bit of publicity, in my opinion. The stunt they did for Extra really was the only storyline they had going in to WrestleMania. They had a couple of matches on Superstars with Kelly and Beth, and they had a match between Kelly and Eve, I think the week before WrestleMania. Not much of a storyline, just a stunt done for Extra. A great way for a couple of people to get publicity and have something to do at WrestleMania. The Divas also had a significant involvement with Access, the WrestleMania Fan Fest, and the WrestleMania press conference, which you can see in its entirety on our Twitter account at HW Entertainment Jonathan Clarke 1. I'll have more details on some of the videos and content on our website from WrestleMania 28 throughout the next hour. So make sure you stay tuned and have a piece of paper and pen ready to mark down details on how you can see videos and photos from the show. More on that throughout the course of the program. The Divas match wasn't a match that I think a lot of people were interested in. As I mentioned here at the top of the show, it was probably when you took your piss break or went to get something to eat. The Divas match is usually when you take a bit of a reprieve from everything you've taken in over the last hour and a half, 2 hours into the show. The Divas match comes on a bit late in the show, probably to give you a bit of a reprieve or relaxation moment, I guess, to do what you have to do and get back into the action. Usually it leads into a main event or something, but the Divas match with Kelly and Maria Menounos. Maria Menounos isn't there enough for fans to pay attention or actually become interested in what she does on WWE TV. I think we see her probably once every year and a half. So this match really wasn't that interesting to me. I really didn't, approve of it. I didn't think it had any place being on WrestleMania, but the outcome was good. Seeing Maria Menounos and Kelly win the way they did, putting Extra over in such typical WWE fashion, I guess, is something that was to be expected. And I really like how WWE didn't have too much publicity on this, but the Divas always need a certain amount of attention, and I wish they had more attention. I just wish they weren't used in such a publicity-style fashion, and were given more in-ring time. I think Divas should be allowed to have at least 10 to 15 minute long matches on editions of Raw and SmackDown, but somehow they always end up being in 4 to 5 minute long matches. I think one match I saw between Kelly and Beth Phoenix on Superstars to hype up this tag team match at WrestleMania went anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes in length, and that's not long enough to showcase phenomenal talents like Alicia Fox and Beth Phoenix and Eve, who was getting an incredible push doing that promo on Raw just last night about how she always affiliates herself with Power and will continue to affiliate herself with Power long throughout 2012 and long into 2013, supporting John Laurinaitis the way she does. It's going to be really interesting to see how the program between Eve and Kelly picks up after the draft lottery. Eve Torres, of course, always anticipates the draft lottery with such high expectations. I heard an interview with her for an Australian radio show a couple of months back where she always highly anticipates the draft lottery, so it's going to be really interesting to see where she ends up after the draft lottery is finished up and where this Kelly Eve Torres thing goes after WrestleMania. Hopefully we'll get some kind of finality from this, because the Eve Kelly thing was something I was anticipating for a couple of months here on the show, and the match they gave us on Raw wasn't good enough. I think this match is good enough to be on pay-per-view, something that fans probably should be able to pay for with a bit of contentment, knowing it's going to be a good match. Kelly and Eve definitely deserve to go anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in length, and all of the Divas deserve a 10 to 15 minute long match. Lacey Von Erich was right when she was here on the show, and she said that if women were given more in-ring time on editions of Raw and SmackDown and TNA, they would be taken more seriously. But until WWE realized that, we're not going to have women taken seriously in the wrestling business, and that's the unfortunate thing. A lot of great matches happened at WrestleMania, but when you talk about pure wrestling, the best pure wrestling match on the show had to be CM Punk and Chris Jericho. What a fantastic performance given by Jericho and Punk. About 20 minutes in length. It might have went a bit longer. It was a fantastic match. The storyline, how they added fuel to the fire a couple of days prior to WrestleMania, having Punk's family tied into the storyline somehow, continuing it after WrestleMania. This match, this whole storyline, this entire angle has me interested to see if Punk will actually drink, resort to actually having a drink and smoking because of the stress Jericho's probably put on him since Jericho's return, really targeting Punk and really putting a bullseye on Punk's chest, not only from Jericho, but for other wrestlers in the company to take notice of. Punk really is a marked man. Everything going on with laryngitis, the wrestlers wanting title shots. The Rock now is saying he's going to become the WWE champion after his victory at WrestleMania. And we have Jericho still wanting the WWE title around his waist, still believing he has some legitimate claim to something he hasn't held since he's been back. I think the last time Jericho was champion was so many years ago, we can't even remember it or recall actually what happened. I think the last time Jericho was champion was probably back in 2008 when he was feuding with Shawn Michaels, and they had a whole angle with Rebecca. Shawn Michaels sinned by kicking the shit out of Jericho at the Unforgiven 2008 pay-per-view. You can see that on our torrent form, which looks absolutely fantastic. A lot of WrestleMania shows are on our torrent board with YouTube videos and torrent search boxes now. I'll have more on that in the coming weeks, so make sure you keep listening to HEW Entertainment for additional details on what's happening with our torrent board. Throw up a lot of WrestleMania videos in anticipation of the 28th anniversary from Sunlight Stadium. Over 78,000 fans in attendance for this one, and it was one of the most socially talked about things on Twitter and Facebook more than anything. And in addition to that, the end of an era match received a lot of publicity from Twitter and Facebook. A lot of fans were talking about it and made a lot of things about WWE on the night of WrestleMania trend on Twitter. More trending came from WWE than anything, and the WrestleMania show in its entirety was watched more than anything on cable television. And that's not including just cable television. That's including pay-per-view offerings on the night of April 1st, 2012. That's incredible. WWE trended that much on Twitter, generated so much conversation and talk on social media. That was an incredible accomplishment. That's just not pay-per-view offerings and stuff. That includes everything on cable television on April 1st. And there were so many things on cable television on April 1st. We had the Juno Awards, the CMA Awards for 2012, where Taylor Swift won Entertainer of the Year for the second year in a row. She was actually supposed to attend the show with a cancer patient who unfortunately couldn't make it, and with so much media attention being given to all these award shows like the Juno Awards, which happens here in Canada every year, the 41st Annual Juno Awards hosted by William Shatner, who hosted the Slammy Awards back in 2009, I believe, and the CMA Awards, hosted by well-known country music celebrities, and it had an array of talent there. The WrestleMania show received the most attention, more than anything that happened on April 1st. So that's incredible. The CMAs, the Junos, all happening on April 1st. And WrestleMania, airing on that same night, delivered 78,000 fans, and the next night over 13,000. That's incredible. And we have Super SmackDown coming up next week. It's going to be huge. I mean, WWE really heading in a positive direction with the signing of The Rock, Brock Lesnar, this new superstar, Lord Tensa, who previously was in WWE. WWE is heading in such a positive direction with the draft lottery coming up. And speaking of the draft lottery, I wrote a column about looking ahead to the outcome of the 2012 draft lottery and some of the key things you need to look for. You'll find that in my column archives on my website. And I went into detail about the 2012 draft, some past moments that occurred because of the draft. The draft, of course, implemented in 2004 into the storyline. Since then, we have seen so many incredible things happen, and are going to see so many incredible things happen, I believe. This year, the draft lottery always happening a couple of weeks after WrestleMania. And the staple event every year, I think, is the draft, because the draft really indicates to fans what kind of direction we're heading into the summer and into the fall of the year that the draft falls on. And ever since 2004, the draft has really become staple for debuts, for landmark things to happen. So definitely tune into the draft whenever it happens, because a lot of stuff is going to be happening this year at the draft lottery, with so many premieres in WWE, from Lord Tensa to so many wrestlers signing contracts with the company, from Lesnar to The Rock now saying he's going to come back and challenge for the WWE title within the next few months. He says it's a vision he had, him being WWE champion. We'll see if that vision comes true within the next couple of months. The Rock is not guaranteed to be there every week, but with Lesnar being back now and a potential Rock-Lesnar match hyping up, and so much going on within WWE, I mean, stuff to pay attention to. Got to be the draft lottery, some up-and-coming pay-per-views like Extreme Rules, Over the Limit, Money in the Bank in the summer, SummerSlam, getting ready for its 20